Well, good morning and welcome to a brand new week. This is Make It Personal, and I am Pastor Terrell. This weekday daily devotional is intended to inspire you and help you hopefully gain a little more insight into the Word of God. This week, my whole theme is hymns, so go along with me as I say, Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. What is grace? And what makes it amazing? So the first use of the word grace is in the New Testament is found in John chapter 1, verse 16. And it says, for of his fullness, we have received grace upon grace. Christ is full of grace. And from his fullness, we receive grace. And then he gives us more grace. See, the grace of God is a gift. The grace of God cannot be earned. It is never deserved. And more importantly, grace cannot be paid for. You can't do anything to repay God or rebalance the scales. He gave you this immeasurable gift of grace. And when you need more, he gives you more. You can never out-sin grace. God gave you a gift. Thank him for it. The hymn Amazing Grace was written by a man named John Newton. And he lived a rather ungodly life. Most of his life, he was a sailor. He was not a good sailor. The testament was he was very rebellious. He was put in the brig very often. He was chained up with slaves. He worked on a slave hauler, and he was so disobedient, he was actually chained up with slaves and nearly starved to death. And it wasn't until they were in the midst of a terrible storm that he prayed, God, deliver us. And they were saved from that storm, and it changed his heart. And he wrote this hymn, and he even started to preach and teach. And the hymn Amazing Grace was partially based on a verse in 1 Chronicles. And I'm going to read 1 Chronicles chapter 17. I'm going to read verse 16 and 17 out of the Message. It says, King David went in and took his place before God and prayed, who am I, my master God? And what is my family that you have brought me to this place in my life? But that's nothing compared to what's coming, for you've also spoken of my family far into the future. You've given me a glimpse into tomorrow and looked on me, God, as a somebody. I may have been a wretch, but I am no longer. I may have been blind, but I am no longer. I may have been a sinner, but I am no longer. David says, you took me. Why? How was I special? Look where you brought me, and you showed me everything you're going to do for me in the future. I thought I was a nobody, but by your grace, God, you say I am somebody. Praise your name, God. We love you so much. Have a blessed day, everyone.